Welcome everyone to our Midweek Exhale. My name is Sharyn and I am one half of the Exhale Awakening, and Marie, who will either be that way on my screen, is the other half of the Exhale Awakening. And today um, in we're going to lead you in 4 separate breaths, but 3 of those breaths are going to lead up to the fourth. So, if you've been with us for the last 3 weeks, we have spent a week exploring light breathing, a week exploring slow, deep breathing, and a week exploring deep breathing. And we've done different things in the segments to give you experience of those things. Well, this evening we're going to bring all of those together. So we're going to do a segment of light. I'll do it the right way around. We're going to do a segment of slow, a segment of deep, and a segment of light, and then a segment where we bring them all together in one breathwork. And as ever, we're going to intersperse that with birdsong and silence. So each one of the segments will begin with birdsong and will end with silence. And this is just an opportunity for you to relax, to rest, to just be with your natural breath rhythm. And as you know, the silence and the birdsong, both in different ways, settle your nervous system and move you from sympathetic, activated nervous system into parasympathetic, the calmer nervous system. The birdsong, because it's primal. If the birds were singing many millennia ago, then predators were not around, and your primal brain remembers that. And the silence, because it's like the two ends of kind of science here, because the silence is because new research is showing us that it allows us to build neural pathways. So so we bring all of that into our breath work. As ever, the segments that we're leading are invitational. So if it doesn't feel like it's the right breath for you, then by all means stay with us and breathe with your natural rhythm, or breathe with a breath that suits you. But we do always like to remind you that we tread this fine line between our number one rule of be comfortable and the fact that what we are doing is breath work. So there is an element of work associated with giving conscious thought and conscious attention to your breath. But we don't want you to be at that point of pushing through. Um, step back at around your comfort, just on the edges of your comfort zone. Live in that place if you can. Just expanding your ability, but not pushing to the point of ignoring your body's impulses. And allow yourself to move. So we are not inviting you into some kind of meditation pose for this, where you have to try and deny the body. We encourage you to move. We encourage you to vocalize if that is what you need and it's possible for you where you are. And we invite you to do this breathwork seated or lying down. The only movement we would discourage is standing up, or standing up quickly. And that is just so that if you are kind of in a really relaxed and kind of less aware state, that you don't get dizzy, you don't fall, all of those sorts of things. So take care of yourself, basically, is what we're saying. Do I have anything else to say, Marie? I'm a bit fuzzy today, but no, I think that's good. Excellent. So make yourselves comfortable and we will get going. So I just invite you to bring your attention to the space that you're occupying. So take a look around maybe. Notice the room that you're in, the place that you are in the room. Be aware of your physical body. And the surface that you're lying or seated upon. Just check in with your body first of all and just give attention to our first rule of being comfortable. And adjust yourself if you need to. Remember, you might need a blanket to put on or take off, depending on your body temperature. And we're going to give just a few seconds to your thoughts. Maybe you've arrived with some things spinning in your mind. And maybe you could just, you can't really stop them. Thoughts come and go. But maybe you can intend to let them just be by your side rather than being present throughout this session. So you can give your attention, you can give your thought to the breath. They'll be there at the end of the session should you decide to pick them up again. And then maybe just give some attention to your feelings, your emotions, your senses. And notice what's present. And then finally, we're going to give our attention to the breath for the rest of this track. So notice first of all whether you're breathing through your nose or through your mouth. Notice where the breath is landing. Whether you can feel it expanding your rib cage right down to the bottom, or whether it feels as if it's more upper chest today. And notice how quickly you're breathing. This is the first time I'm going to invite you to make a change. So up to now, we've just been noticing, we've been aware. But now, see if you can slow down your breath. Make the inhale a little bit longer. And make the exhale a little bit longer. And notice how it feels when you lengthen the inhale and the exhale. And see if you can make them both just a little longer again. your mind has wandered away from your breath, just bring it back now. Popping aside whatever's distracting you and come back to the breath. And slow down your breath. Just a little bit more. Notice if the breath's landing in a different place as you've slowed it down. Maybe it feels different to when you first brought your attention to your breath. We've got slightly over a minute to go before we move into 2 minutes of silence. So in this last minute, just see how slow can you go. On your next exhale, I'm going to invite you just to come back to your natural rhythm and relax into the silence.
And as the bird song brings the silence to a close, just taking a moment to reflect on how that silence felt. Maybe it's the first time you were in silence today, and maybe it's not. Just reflecting on how it felt. And in our next segment, we're going to explore deepening our breath. We're going to explore bringing our breath low down into our belly. And in preparation for that, I'm going to invite you to just notice what your breath's doing now. After you've slowed it down and after you've spent some time in silence, just notice what your breath's doing now. And notice where you feel your breath. Maybe you feel it in your chest. Maybe you already feel it in your belly. But just notice. And as the music begins, I'm going to invite you to bring your breath deeper into your belly. And if it helps, just by putting your two hands on your belly. If you remember, we did the thing with the fingers. Breathing into your belly with your fingers touching, and then as you inhale, the fingers come apart. Whatever makes it easier for you at this point. Bringing that breath deep, deep down to the bottom of your lungs. And just noticing how that feels. Maybe that's the way you have been breathing, and maybe it hasn't. Just focusing on bringing the breath deep, deep down to the very bottom of the lungs. Keeping the focus on the breath going down to your belly. Maybe you can deepen it a little bit more, just a fraction. Following that breath the whole way in and the whole way out. And maybe noticing if deepening the breath is having any other effects on your body. Maybe checking in as you bring that breath deep. Where do you feel your body moving now? Can you notice it expanding sideways? Can you notice movements in your back? We're almost in our last minute, so maybe you can deepen that breath a little bit more. Imagine it going all the way to the tips of your toes. As the music begins to fade, just allowing your breath to go back to its natural rhythm, getting ready to rest in the silence.
And as the birdsong brings the silence to a gentle close, just checking in again, noticing how you're feeling. And in our third breath segment, we're going to introduce the third component of light, slow, and deep breathing. light breathing. So for this, I'm going to invite you to bring your attention on your nose. So trying to do this through your nose if it's available to you. Bring your attention to your nose and to the breath entering and exiting through your nostrils. And see if you can do that so lightly that you can barely feel the air moving through your nasal cavity. The gentlest of inhales and the softest of exhales. Imagine that you have a feather on your upper lip and you're trying not to blow it off. Breathing so softly, so lightly. You're barely moving any air. And if it helps, just place your finger on your top lip where we were imagining the feather. And feel the air on your finger as you inhale and exhale. And lighten the volume of the breath so much that you can barely feel it move. And if you're feeling what we call air hunger, you need to take the odd breath that is deeper, is bringing in more volume. And go ahead and get to the place again where you feel comfortable, and then start again. Just bringing your breath in lighter and lighter. This one's often the most difficult. So just be kind to yourself and remember to stay comfortable, at least on the edge of comfort. Challenge yourself to see how light you can breathe. Even just for 30 seconds. Check in with that imaginary feather on your upper lip. Make sure it's still there. Just gently, lightly inhaling and exhaling through the nose. We're into the last minute now. So if you've drifted off, just bring your attention back to that light breathing. Barely moving any air. On your next exhale, taking a larger breath in and out, and letting your breath settle back into its natural rhythm as we move into the silence.
And as the birdsong begins again, just taking a moment to reflect on that silence and how that silence felt. And maybe before we move into our final breath segment in this session, just reflecting on the 3 breath styles we've already done. The slow breath, the deep breath, and the light breath. Because now, in our last segment, we're going to bring all of that together. So we're going to just begin to connect with our breath again. And just notice what your breath feels like right now without changing it at all. Notice where you feel your breath. Just notice what it feels like. And then begin to slow your breath down again. And as you slow down, bringing your breath deep into your lungs again, to the very bottom of your lungs. Slow, deep breaths. And as you're breathing slowly and deeply, noticing how much air you're bringing in. And then maybe reducing that just a little bit, still bringing the breath deep. Maybe not as much air now, not filling your lungs up as much. And not forcing or pushing it. Even if you breathe a little less air here. And knowing that if it does feel forced, that you can just go back to your natural breath for a few breaths. And then gently slow it down, deepen it, and breathe a little less air. Not inhaling till your lungs are full, just inhaling enough. Keeping those breaths slow and deep and light. And at any point knowing that you can stop and take a few natural breaths. And then just gently begin slowing them down again. And making them deeper. And breathing in a little less air. And if you're feeling that air hunger, that need to take a bigger breath, Listen to your body and take a bigger breath. And then slowly and gently go back to your slow, deep, light breathing. And just allowing the breath pattern to fall away, going back to your natural breath as we go back into the silence.
And as the birdsong brings our final silence to a close in this session, just reflecting on how you feel. Reflecting on the whole breath work. Acknowledging yourself, the attention you've given to your breath today. And noticing the impact that that's had on your natural rhythm, your natural breath pattern. I'm going to invite you now to bring your attention back to where we started, to your body. To your connection to the surface that you're seated or lying on. Maybe to the feeling that you're having in your body, and you might want to flex your body. As you prepare to find yourself back in the room that you're seated in and back into the Zoom room.
And as you make your way back, and there's no rush, I'm just going to draw your attention to the links. And if you're watching on the recording, they'll be somewhere close by. The recording of this session will go up on our YouTube channel, and the link for it's there. And if you do visit the YouTube channel, maybe you would be kind enough to like and subscribe, because we love that. And it will also go up in our Exhale library, where there are no ads. So if you want it ad free, just click the link and join. It's free to join, and the recordings will be there. Our longer breath works are held on the second Sunday of each month, which is Sunday coming. And we're going to breathe with the rowan tree on Sunday. And it begins at 6 o'clock, and it's a 3-hour workshop. And then after that, it'll be the fourth Friday. And our next anchoring the exhale is the breath of surrender on the fourth Friday. Our seasonal retreats will be beginning, and you can join the waiting list to get information. No obligation, just to get information to see, if it's a possibility for you. And the final link is, as always, our directory listing. And if you want to contact us, you can contact us in the community or on the directory. And you can leave a review if you enjoyed the session. And that is all the notices. Before we open the room for Hearth and Voices, we will put off the recording. But just to say, if you're watching this in the recording, be kind to yourself. Energy moves when we do breath work, so be kind and gentle with yourself and do all the good things you know to do. And hopefully we'll breathe again with you soon.